Let's continue with part 2. I only remembered after I saw a trigger phrase on one of the Diddy files. What phrase? She asked. His voice dropped to a whisper. Murmuration. She stared at her corkboard. One of the audio files from the compound, labeled layer.mrm.001, had the same word in its metadata. Julissa didn't sleep again that night. Instead, she dove deeper. She fed the word into a closed NLP natural language processing engine, built from an old CIA open source archive. What she found was a classified operation run under the codename Project Murmuration. The goal? To study the impact of controlled micronarratives on populations. Start small. A fake tweet, a viral video, a scandal, then amplify, loop, redirect, until people didn't just believe the lie, they preferred it. Diddy wasn't the origin, he was the test case. His life, every rise, fall, feud, redemption arc, was orchestrated to simulate how mass populations reacted to perceived power and fall from grace. They called it emotional containment through celebrity dynamics. It was warfare, waged not on borders, but on brains. Roddy confirmed it days later. He'd hacked into an old satellite node used by the Blackbriar Project, the now defunct arm of US cyber intelligence. Inside, he found a transcript, a conversation between two unnamed directors. I still think the Combs file is unstable, one said. He's useful, charismatic, convincing, but unpredictable. That's what makes him work. The other side, just make sure the failsafe is active. We can't afford another leak. And then, what about the girl? Contain her, or convert her. The girl was Julissa. She backed away from her screen like it had slapped her. Every room now felt smaller, every sound a trap, every face a mask. She reached for her satellite phone. Roddy didn't answer. She tried again. Still nothing. An encrypted email arrived 10 minutes later. From a dead drop account they'd retired. He's gone. They know. Run. The sender, no name. Just a sigil. A spiral of red ink that matched the tattoo she'd seen once on a man at the warehouse. A man who didn't speak, who didn't blink. She had two options: disappear or blow it all up. She chose the second. She uploaded everything: files, audio, metadata, confessions, into a decentralized cloud built by whistleblowers. It was designed for one purpose: truth without trace. Once uploaded, the files would fragment and distribute across thousands of servers. Anyone who knew the cipher could access it. She built the cipher into a video, a documentary, hidden in glitch frames, in subtitles, in the way Diddy's name flickered between Sean and Combs. It went live on a random Tuesday. Within 6 hours, it had 12 million views. Within 12 hours, the site was hit by a coordinated DDoS attack. Within 24 hours, multiple platforms blacklisted it for safety violations. But it was too late. The fragments were out, and then came the consequences. Multiple lawsuits flooded Julissa's name. Her fake passports were flagged. One of her aliases was exposed on a podcast run by a former FBI analyst. Her mother, who she hadn't spoken to in years, received a call saying Julissa had died in a plane crash. But she was still breathing. She watched as Diddy's name stopped trending, as headlines shifted back to celebrity divorces, election cycles, sports scores. And yet, the world felt different, more skeptical, more alert. People started asking questions, not just about Diddy, but about everything. And one night, sitting in the back of a cab in Istanbul, Julissa received a text from a number she hadn't seen in months. Unknown, you made it impossible to ignore. That was the only way to win. Attached was a photo. Roddy, alive, barely, face bruised, eye swollen, but smiling. Behind him, Diddy, in a hoodie, holding up a sign. One word on it: not over. And in that moment, Julissa understood. The case wasn't about clearing a name. It was about detonating a system. She opened her laptop one last time. Started typing. What you're about to read is not fiction. It is a map, a mirror, and a mirror never lies. Unless someone replaces the glass. She hit send. And the world tilted again. 6 days later, the world saw the first ripple. It wasn't a breaking headline or a scandal. It was something stranger. A child in Tokyo uploaded a video of a television glitch. Midway through a commercial, the screen cut to static, then flashed an image of Diddy, holding the same sign seen in the Istanbul photo. Not over. It lasted half a second. Barely enough to notice, but someone did. Then it happened again. In a hospital waiting room in Brazil. On a digital billboard in Warsaw. On the back screen of a Times Square taxi ad. Not full messages, just fragments. Glitched loops. A pair of eyes. A name that flickered. CTRL out Sean. Forums lit up. Was it marketing? Was it a hack, a hoax? But Jaleesa knew what it was. Diddy was hijacking the system that once hijacked him. She logged into the darknet node where her encrypted drive was synced. There were 72 new files, all labeled the reversal protocol. She clicked one. It showed a layout of an event, high ceilings, circular lights, a crowd in suits. At the center, a stage. A voiceover played distorted, masked, but clear. They built the lie on repetition. So now we fracture the loop. A countdown blinked into place. 6 days. Roddy messaged her that night. They're going live. Who? She typed. Us. He'd reassembled the old team. Activists, dropouts, whistleblowers. People with nothing left to lose and everything to expose. They called themselves the Reversal, and Diddy was no longer the subject. He was the signal. They planned to interrupt the International Narrative Governance Summit, a real thing. A real event, hidden in plain sight under the guise of a global media regulation roundtable, held once a year in Luxembourg. Every attendee, handpicked media czars, public opinion engineers, data miners. Every session, off-record. Every speech, scripted. No one questioned it because no one knew it existed. Until now. Jaleesa wasn't supposed to be there, but Roddy insisted. You started it. You helped finish it. They arrived 2 days early. Used back doors, service tunnels, disguises. Diddy came disguised as a janitor. It was surreal. The man who once commanded stadiums now pushing a mop across marble. But he was focused, laser sharp. This place, he whispered to her, is where they decide who gets to be innocent. Jaleesa found the control room. Dozens of feeds, each screen showing a different room, a different conversation, a different mask being worn. Roddy handed her a thumb drive. Once it's plugged in, there's no going back. She didn't hesitate. The system blinked, then chaos. The feeds were hijacked. The screens flipped, one by one. Every room filled with the sound of Diddy's voice. Not a speech, a confession, an edited, raw, from that first interview in the compound. I was their weapon, their actor, their scapegoat. Every scandal was staged. Every redemption was timed. You loved me, then hated me, then forgave me, but I was never yours. I was theirs. Gasps echoed down the marble hallways. Screens continued to flicker, now showing data, receipts, emails, NDAs, surveillance logs, names, faces. One woman fainted. A man tried to rip cables out of the wall. Security rushed the control room. Roddy held the door with a chair. Jaleesa backed up the server. Diddy stayed still, watching the panic. Then he turned to her and said, "Time to disappear." They exited through the sub-level tunnels, already prepped with stolen keycards and silent routes. No alarms, no guns, no Hollywood chase scene, just shadows and smoke. Within 24 hours, over 117 news outlets tried to discredit the leak. Too late. The reversal protocol was live across 80 for mirror sites, translated, duplicated, streamed, and the most shared file. A message Diddy recorded the night before the infiltration. He sat in front of a cracked mirror, just his reflection, and said, "You made me famous. They made me a weapon. I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm just asking you to start asking them the right questions." The video ends with coordinates, a live location, in the middle of nowhere. People went, thousands. Some said it was a cult, others said it was a trap, but what they found there wasn't a man or a movement. It was a terminal, a black screen, a prompt blinking. Upload your truth. One by one people did. Whistleblowers, victims, workers, politicians, and slowly, the architecture of lies began to crumble. But it didn't end with a bang. It ended quietly, with one final file. A file named CTRL_alt_del. No sender, no metadata, just a 3-second video. A hallway, a figure, walking away, back turned, unmistakable silhouette. Diddy? And then it fades to black. Only a single word remains. Rebooting. The word pulsed on the screen like a heartbeat. Rebooting. And then it vanished. No flash, no explosion. Just a terminal screen that went dark, as if someone on the other side had yanked the plug from the wall. Jaleesa stared at it for a long time. Roddy was beside her, arms crossed, the wind slicing through his jacket, as they stood atop an abandoned data center on the edge of the Scottish Highlands. It had taken them 2 flights, a ferry, and a hike through ankle-deep snow to reach it. And now, after everything, the message was simple. Rebooting. What does that mean? She asked. Roddy didn't answer. Instead, he reached into his coat and pulled out a black pouch. Inside was a satellite phone with a cracked screen, and a micro card taped to the back. This was sent to a dead drop in Cape Verde, he said. No prints, no origin, but the encryption matches the old Diddy files. Jaleesa popped the card into her laptop. It didn't open a document or a folder. It opened a map, not of countries, not of terrain, of people. Each dot pulsed with a name, coordinates, tags. Roddy zoomed in on one cluster, Los Angeles. There were 482 names, all tagged with asset, active or pending. He clicked one, a pop star, still trending, still touring. Another, a tech CEO, recently gave a TED Talk on digital freedom. Another, a journalist. Jaleesa stared at the screen. That's my old boss. The realization hit them both at once. This wasn't a story anymore. It was a war. One side used weapons, the other used information. But the battlefield was the same, trust. They traced the map back to its source. Not a server, not a building. A node floating over Earth. A private satellite launched under a shell aerospace company called Nexastra, funded by a media conglomerate tied to 5 offshore accounts. The only name tied to all 5? Julian Sachs. Roddy clenched his jaw. I knew he wasn't dead. Julian Sachs had disappeared after the Luxembourg leak. Everyone thought he'd been erased by his own system, a man too dangerous to be left breathing. But no, he'd gone higher. He wasn't deleting data. He was collecting it, storing every reaction, every post, every second of footage related to the Diddy saga. Not to stop it, but to study it. It's a control loop, Jaleesa whispered. We break the story, they study the reaction, and then recalibrate for the next one. And the worst part, it was working. The more wild the truth became, the more people called it fiction. Even now, Diddy's name had become a punchline. Late-night hosts joked about AI Diddy. TikTok creators remixed his confessions into trap beats. Memes outnumbered headlines. What do we do now? Jaleesa asked. Roddy handed her a file labeled Dead God Protocol. Now, he said, we buried the icon, not the man, the myth. The protocol was ruthless, designed not to expose Diddy, but to erase him, to scrub the false timelines, collapse the viral loops, and turn the public's obsession into exhaustion. It wasn't justice. It was warfare. They released a fake obituary, posted on fringe sites first, then quietly inserted into Wikipedia. Sean Combs, 1969 to 2023. Cause of death, remote cardiac arrest in undisclosed location. No photos, no witnesses, just silence. And strangely, it worked. The internet slowed. The hashtags faded. People mourned for about 6 hours, then moved on. As if, deep down, the world needed closure even if it wasn't real. Jaleesa wasn't sure how to feel. Are we just doing what they do? She asked Roddy. He looked at her, tired. Difference is, we're not making people believe something new. We're letting them forget what was never real. That night, she burned her files. Every drive, every trace. Roddy did the same. They went their separate ways, but the story didn't end there. 6 months later, a YouTube channel called CTRL_alt_SEAN went live with one video. No intro, no title, just a dark room, and Diddy's voice. I was a mirror. You liked what you saw until it cracked. The channel went viral. Millions subscribed, but no new videos ever followed. Just the one. A warning. And in its comments, only one pinned message from a verified account no one recognized. It said, the reboot failed. Prepare for rollback. The screen went black. The message, the reboot failed. Prepare for rollback, didn't go viral like the others. In fact, most people ignored it, thought it was cryptic, part of the show. Some said it was an og. Others believed it was part of the new Diddy marketing comeback. But Jaleesa knew better. So did Roddy. Because 3 days after that comment appeared, people began to vanish. Not disappear in the traditional sense, but vanish from memory. The first was a coder from Norway, who helped build the decryption engine for the reversal protocol. His blog, gone. His GitHub, deleted. His photo albums, wiped. Old collaborators couldn't remember his face. Even his family began to second-guess their memories of him. Then it happened again. A British activist who leaked government ties to the narrative system disappeared mid-interview. The station later claimed no such interview took place. The footage, corrupted. Her name no longer appeared in the university database. Rollback wasn't just a warning. It was active. A silent protocol built to erase those who interfered with the machine. Jaleesa called Roddy. He didn't pick up. She called again. No answer. She tried the dead drops, the backup lines, the dark forums. Nothing. Until she got a postcard from Spain. It was blank, except for 3 words. You're next. Run. The ink wasn't written. It was burned into the paper. She booked a ticket to nowhere, a decoy. But before boarding, she did one last thing. She opened her most secure vault, a physical drive sealed in a concrete wall beneath an abandoned subway tunnel in Berlin. Inside was one file, untouched. A video, labeled Echo. She watched it. It was footage from 3 years ago. Security cam. Inside a lab, a young Diddy. Before the scandals, before the machine swallowed him, he's strapped to a chair. Wires in his scalp. A man stands beside him. Julian Sachs. We're going to rewrite just one memory today, Sachs says. Something small. Diddy's voice is panicked. I don't want this. You already did. Sachs replies calmly. That's how memory works. The tape cuts out, replaced by a black screen. White text fades in. The first casualty of control is consent. Jaleesa stared. She wasn't watching Diddy anymore. She was watching herself. Because in the corner of the screen, just behind the reflection of the lab glass, she saw her own face. She'd been there. She hadn't remembered. She was part of it. She wasn't just the whistleblower. She was a ghost. A rollback subject who escaped the system. And now, the system wanted its asset back. Her phone lit up with a number she didn't recognize. She didn't answer. She didn't run. She uploaded the video to 7 unknown servers. She left breadcrumbs in the code for others to find. She wrote one final message. If they can erase truth, make truth go viral. Over and over. Until even the lie gets tired of pretending. Then she vanished. No one's seen her since. Some say she walks among us, in crowds, recording reactions. Others say she's dead. But once a year, on the anniversary of the leak, a video plays across dead satellite feeds. Just static. And then a face. Diddy? Not smiling. Just watching. As if waiting. And the last frame. Always the same. We never left. We just rewrote the credits. Loved this story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a new episode. Drop a heart in the comments if this touched you. And tell me, what kind of story should I tell next? Your idea could be my next upload.